A day after half a dozen teenagers were shot in a park in Aurora, we're working to learn more about the suspects in that investigation.
What's really scary is they're becoming numb to the violence because they're around it so much.
A mother who's lived in that neighborhood for years says she is concerned for the kids.
A wildfire is spreading fast near Estes Park. Fire crews are dealing with high winds and dangerous fire conditions. We're live with the latest on evacuations.
Change is coming when it comes to our weather. What to expect from the cold front that's on the way in your full forecast. 4 o'clock at 9 News starts now.
Right now, wildfire burning near Estes Park is forcing homeowners to evacuate. It started this morning. It's already burned more than 100 acres.
Let's take a look at the evacuation map. That's what it looks like right now. And you can see that fire is threatening an area just southeast of Estes Park. As of about an hour ago, they're just talking about only 11% containment. Of course, this is where we find Angeline McCall. She spent the day there keeping an eye on things and joins us now live with the latest. Angeline?
Yeah, Tom and Kim, it is still really windy out here. It's been the main barrier for fire crews trying to fight this fire. Not only that, but there is a ridge right up there with this fire, as you can see. So that ridge is making it really tough because it is so steep. It's incredibly difficult for fire crews to get there on foot. And it's also very dangerous. Like you guys mentioned, 11% contained right now. And it was pretty much at 0% throughout most of the day today. The flames started at around 7 this morning, possibly due to an electrical issue of some nature, according to the sheriff's office. The fire quickly grew because of the strong winds, and then it was around 25 acres this morning. And of course, it's grown to that 115 acres that we know is where it stands currently. Throughout the day, we've seen the list of mandatory evacuations grow, leaving people to find a place to stay until they're in the clear.
And so we're stranded if anything happens. And we have our own fire department, which is wonderful. And this morning, they just said, be ready. And it wasn't mandatory. But then the sheriff drove by, and so thank goodness we were ready.
And so many of the homeowners, just like Jean that you just heard from, they were all ready and prepared. They live in the mountains, so of course they're used to some of these types of evacuations. It's not unusual for them. However, what is unusual is not being able to get to this fire on foot, as we know. And they are hoping that this wind calms down in time so that they can get some air resources up either this evening or overnight. Tom, Kim.
Not unusual, but doesn't make it any easier when
No.
you're forced in that situation to say, I gotta go.
Time to go. All right, Angeline, we'll check back with you. We'll get more coming up throughout the hour and at 5 o'clock. Of course, the big story involving the winds. This is a live look at Fort Collins. You can see the flag whipping. We've been talking about the warm Chinook winds. Well, even from there, you can see some of that smoke. At least they could in Fort Collins, burning near Estes Park. But now a cold front is bringing a different type of wind. So let's get to Kathy and talk about what is happening right now and what's coming our way in the next few hours.
We were back in the 70s again today, Tom, with extensive cloud cover, but those gusty winds have blown from about 30 to 50 miles per hour ahead of a cool front that will be here within the next couple of hours. And in and around that Kruger fire area in Estes Park, here's a current wind map. We're seeing gusty winds to 38 miles per hour. We do expect to see some improvement after sunset, and this evening with the passage of the front, the winds will be shifting and they will become much lighter. Cold air will settle in, and up in and around Estes Park, temperatures overnight may be in the single digits and lower teens with higher humidity values. In Denver, it's just cloudy. We've had a bit of wind out here. Temperatures very warm again, but things will be changing over the course of the next 2 hours as that cold front to the north comes barreling down, moving from north to south. It's currently 44 in Rapid City, 50 in Casper, and still 65 at DIA. We've seen the wind really blow along the Front Range foothills in areas like Boulder, but some of the worst wind has been over some of the higher passes, Berthoud Pass, Loveland Pass, winds to 60 and 65 miles per hour. Again, the worst of the wind over the next 2 hours. Red flag warnings remain in effect due to the wind, the warmth, the lack of moisture. With this front beginning to move into northern Colorado, we will continue to see increase in moisture, a decrease in wind, and temperatures will be dropping like a rock. All the advisories for wind are outside of our state's border for now. High wind warnings for Wyoming, Montana, and for Idaho. Futurecast does show the potential of a few scattered snow showers in Vail, Estes Park, Boulder, Longmont, and Erie. Potential of maybe some flurries or snow showers here in Denver and east of Castle Rock and Elbert County and out toward Lyman overnight tonight. It is not a lot of moisture, but it's something with certainly cooler temperatures coming in. We're in the upper 60s now. We'll drop 10 degrees coming up after sunset. So in Maine weather, we're going to track the incoming storm, detail the cold weather and how much snow, if any, we'll see with this latest storm.
We turn to another fire now, and a few firefighters were hurt fighting that large blaze in Denver, which happened just after noon near York Street and East 43rd, right by the Purina plant. Denver Fire says it started in an abandoned building, but spread to a detached garage and another building where a few people were working inside. Fire crews got it under control pretty quickly, but stayed on the scene to put out some of the hot spots. Denver Fire says that their injuries were minor and that no one else was hurt. Of course, the cause of the fire is now under investigation.
Today in Aurora, Colorado's Attorney General and the Chief of Police announced an agreement calling for major changes to the department. 9 News crime and justice reporter Matt Jablow is live outside police headquarters in Aurora. And Matt, this consent decree comes almost 2 months after the AG report found that Aurora PD engaged in racially biased policing.
That's right, Kim, a report based in large part on the tragic death of Elijah McClain 2 years ago. Today, the police chief and attorney general said the agreement announced this afternoon will bring long-awaited change to the Aurora Police Department.
I know that this has been 23 months of pain.
Aurora Police Chief Vanessa Wilson said the agreement announced today calls for nothing short of a culture change within the Aurora Police Department.
To the community, I hope that it shows you that we are willing to change and they are willing to listen to you, hear what you want from us, and police you the way you want to be policed.
The 46-page agreement, in legal terms a consent decree, has 3 primary objectives for Aurora Police: to change in measurable ways how the department engages with all members of the community, including by reducing any racial disparities in how officers engage, arrest, and use force; to create full public transparency regarding arrests and uses of force, and to improve policies and training in those areas.
Our vision of the requirements of this decree is putting Aurora on a path to follow rigorous best practices for effective policing.
The agreement calls for the department to take up to 2 years to change its operations and training to meet the consent decree's requirements, and 3 more years after that, confirming compliance. The city of Aurora estimates that implementing the consent decree could cost a few $100,000 a year.
This is going to take time, but we're committed to making these changes, and I promise you that we'll be transparent every step of the way.
The ultimate goal of this consent decree is to elevate policing and to improve public safety here in Aurora.
The Aurora City Council still has to approve the consent decree. A vote is expected on Monday. Kim?
Okay, well, we've been waiting for this. Now we know what it says. All right, thank you, Matt.
We stay in Aurora. Another challenge for Aurora police: the shooting yesterday at Nome Park that sent 6 Aurora Central High School students to the hospital. Police say 2 of them have a long road ahead as far as recovery. 9 News reporter Darius Johnson's with us now, and you've been pressing police today, trying to find out more about their search for suspects.
Hey there, Tom. You know, it's been more than 24 hours since this incident, and police have yet to release any information about those who they believe are involved at this time. Since the shooting, Aurora police have said that they'd release photos of vehicles involved to get the public's help in finding these people. Officers have been looking for those vehicles since the shooting happened around 1 o'clock on Monday, and at today's consent decree conference, Chief Wilson continued to stress that they need the public's help.
The community's been very responsive. I know people are wanting to do anything and everything they can to support these kids and surround them with love, and we appreciate it. I need the community. People know what happened, and they know who did this, and I need them to come forward.
So as of right now, just to be able to walk you through that again, we're still hoping to get those photos of these suspects that they're hoping to release. And also, police are saying that they are working to find these vehicles on their own. Regardless, we will keep you all updated. But Tom, it is still sad to hear that 2 of those teens have significant injuries as well as a long road ahead.
Yes, certainly. Those 6 that were shot have a long road ahead. But I think a lot of people who go to that school are also affected by it. And they'll have a recovery as well.
Yeah, I know earlier today they had enhanced or increased police presence out there at the campus and also near the park, but they also had counselors for those students as well. So we know it's something that's really impacting them, but also the parents and the people who live in that community.
All right, Darius, thanks.